Hello students, how are you people? Hope you are all doing good. Let me begin with the chapter Neural Control and Coordination. In this, yes, some of the few important concepts need to be cleared or taught properly. Let me just go ahead with the concept as such. Mainly, we will discuss about the reflex action and reflex arc. So what do you mean by reflex action? Yes, by definition, reflex action is, you can say that these are the involuntary activities. Involuntary activities occurs within short time without consciousness or yes without involvement of CNS. Means reflex action, it is the activity done by, we can say, that peripheral nervous system. It is mainly the activity due to peripheral nervous system. Fine. So, in fact, the receiving of what we can say the particular signal or stimulus is from the receptor site, and its action has to be conducted and the signal will go up to the effector site. This circuit of signal transmission is called as a reflex arc. So, let me mention here, reflex arc mainly, yes, the transmission of signals mainly from the site of stimulus up to the site of action. Okay, and this is called as yes, we call it reflex arc. There are number of examples, yes, we can consider for the reflex actions. So, yes, examples as such, mainly the reflex action as such involuntarily, yes, it is happening and there is no involvement of the brain, yes, no involvement of the conscious. This action is happening within a fraction of a second. Imagine unknowingly, yes, your hand is touching any hot object. Suddenly you will take your hand back. This is what we call it as mainly the reflex action. There, the signals have gone only up to the spinal cord level and it's suddenly, yes, gone into the muscles and then you are taking your hand back. So this is called as, yes, reflex action. Unknowingly, when we touch the hot object or cold object or you observe any poisonous creature, yes, an involuntary mechanism happens and withdrawal of the hand or the leg from the dangerous things, and we call it as a reflex action. Similarly, yes, tapping a rubber hammer to the knee joint, our leg will move forward, backward automatically. This is called as knee jerk. So, we find knee jerk as the best example. And then, yes, we can say even one more thing, that a dust particle entering in our nose and suddenly we sneeze. This is also a kind of a reflex action. So, a dust particle is coming to our eye and we blink our eye or close our eye, this is also a kind of a reflex action where there is no involvement of any kind of a CNS, what you can say, thoughts or the signals. So imagine somebody is throwing a stone at you. Yes, you will try to escape. You will not measure its velocity or its dimension, its weight. Okay, you will think of escaping from that. This is yes called the kind of a reflex action. Well, let me mention here reflex action examples: knee jerk, eye blinking. Okay, and then mainly sneezing, withdrawal of hand or leg from yes sharp, hot or cold objects. Okay, yes, you see a dangerous creature, snake is there. You will not keep on looking at that until it bite you. Yes, you will run away from that. That is, yes, a simple example of reflex action. So the definition says that it is mainly, yes, it is involuntary activity occurs within a short time without consciousness or without involvement of the CNS. So brain thoughts not required. It acts at a spinal cord level itself. And then the activity is due to peripheral nervous system. Yes. Then what is reflex arc? Yes, transmission of signals from the site of the stimulus. It may be your skin. Okay. So there is signal, pricking sensation. Yes, it goes to the spinal cord, suddenly returns to the muscle bundles. And then yes, you will take your hand back. This is what we call it as mainly. Yes, it is the reflex arc. So transmission of signals from the site of stimulus up to the site of action called the reflex arc. Examples includes knee jerk, eye blinking, sneezing, withdrawal of the hand or leg, yes, from the hot, sharp or cold objects. So let me elaborate this little bit here. So the reflex arc, yes, we are going to discuss. So this is the leg of the person. Yes. So what we find, the leg of the person, yes, having 5 fingers is a very normal thing. Okay. Yes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and here what you are observing, mainly the muscle spindle we call it as. So muscle bundles, yes, present. And then now we are using a rubber hammer. Yes, we are tapping here. What we are giving? We are giving the stimulation. A stimulus we are giving. The stimulus is mainly receiver is here. So we call it as a receptor. So this is the muscle spindle. Now, the sensory signals need to move from here. Yes, the sensory signals we call the sensory nerves. And this path is called as afferent pathway, and the nerve which is taking the sensory signals, sensory nerve, yes, it is afferent path. Yes, the signal is going now up to the dorsal root ganglion. Yes, it is called as a dorsal root ganglion. Yes, it is also called as pseudo-unipolar neuron. And then it sends that signal further into the spinal cord. Here is the dorsal, yes, arm of the spinal cord. Yes, here it is the spinal cord, what we observe. And then ventral root is this one. Now up to here, fine. In fact, this is what we say. There are mainly the sensory nerves coming up to here and then yes. So what we find in the spinal cord as such, a butterfly-shaped structure which is darker in the center, then it is bright in the periphery, and this is called as mainly, yes, it is a grey matter in the spinal cord. It is a spinal cord. Okay, and then yes, these are mainly sensory neurons. So they have received the sensory signals. Then there is what we say, yes, mainly motor neuron we call it as. There is another, it is called as a relay neuron. Yes. Here, what we are observing mainly, yes. So, this is, yes, sending a signal to CNS also. It is sending a signal to the motor neurons also. So, the motor neurons. And this is called as a relay neuron. Okay, relay neuron, the motor neurons have sent mainly downward, these are the motor nerves. Yes. The motor nerves are coming up, then reaching to the muscle fibers or muscle spindle, and this is called mainly, these are the motor neurons. Motor nerves, we call it as a, yes. And here it is also called as the upper one, what we have seen, the sensory signal going to the spinal cord is apparent path. Now action signals are coming down, it is called as the efferent path. Yes, efferent path or efferent signals are taken up by the motor nerves, and they are ending here, what we call as mainly at this point is called as mainly motor end plate. Motor end plate, they are basically also known as, we call them, they are neuromuscular junctions. Okay, yes. So under the influence of these motor nerve signals, now the leg will be moving forward and backward. It is a response against the stimulus. This is what we say response. Okay, yes. Neuromuscular junctions, yes, they send up the signal into the muscle spindle, and it is also called as mainly, yes, the site of action. Site of action means, now here what you are observing, yes, it is a mechanism of knee jerk, which is also a best example for the reflex action. So tapping mainly with a rubber hammer on the knee, that induces a sudden forward backward movement of the leg. Yes, there is a stimulus, there is a response within fraction of second. How it happens, how the signals travels. So sensory or stimulator signals travels through the sensory nerve. That path is called as the afferent path. That go to the spinal cord, crossing through the mainly dorsal root ganglion. There are what we can say sensory neurons, and then there is a relay neuron, there is a motor neuron. Relay neuron, they convey the signal from sensory nerve to the motor nerve. At the same time, relay neuron can convey a signal to the brain also, and it give the report that this thing happened in a fraction of a second. So you have taken your hand back from the hot object, then you will think what is that hot object. So first action is done, then the report will go to the brain. Okay, so relay neuron does that, and then mainly the motor nerves are taking up the signal. These nerves are coming down, we call the efferent pathway, reaching to the neuromuscular junction, also called motor end plate. As a result, impulse now from the nerve fiber transmitting to the muscle fiber. As a result, muscles contract, relax, so the leg move forward and backward. This is called as the best example of what we say, mainly the what we can say reflex action. So this is all about the reflex arc and reflex action. Entire circuit of the signals what you are observing from the point of stimulation up to the site of action, that is called as mainly the reflex arc. So this mechanism is called as a reflex action. So let me tell you here, mainly in the spinal cord, what you are observing in the center, it is a dark gray matter. Why? It is because there is a presence of a good population of neurons. Outside it is a white matter. So it is the condition very much reverse. Spinal cord, yes, and when we say the brain, so spinal cord, gray matter central, gray matter, it is central, here it is peripheral, and then white matter. Why it is white matter? Because it is mainly the collection of nerve fibers. So white matter, here it is peripheral, here it is central. So this is also one of the basic differences. Yes, you should remember along with the reflex action. So what is motor end plate? It is the connection between what we say nerve as well as muscle fiber, neuromuscular junction. Okay, yes. So the stimulus, it is mainly the rubber hammer. Okay, so what we are doing? Yes, tapping. Tapping is what we are doing. That is stimulation we are giving. The first point, stimulus, then it's a travel through the afferent pathway, return back through the afferent pathway, ultimately ending with the response, forward backward movement of the leg, is called as a knee jerk. Okay, so this is a short concept, what we have discussed called as mainly the reflex arc. So still there are still some more important concepts remaining. We'll go ahead with those also. That includes structure of the eye as well as structure of the ear. Yes, I hope the point is very clear regarding the reflex action as well as the examples. Now, so the next concept we are going to discuss, it is the structure and function of the eye. So we will be discussing about the detailed structure of the eye as well as different modifications inside the eye, and then we will discuss about mechanism of mainly vision. We can say how these light signals getting converted into mainly the impulses. We are going to discuss that. So let us go ahead with now the structure and function of eye. Structure and function of eye. So the human eyes are well protected inside the optic cups, we call it as. So in the skull we have a depression in which our eyeballs are well protected. So human has two eyes. So yes, human eyes, well protected within the optic cups. So these are the depression of the skull. Depression of the skull. Okay? Yes, well protected within the optic cups. So, in fact, the eye, yes, it is also called as eyeball. Eyeball, we say. Eyeball is having two important, yes, structure. One is called as the wall of the eye as well as the chambers of the eye. So the wall of the eye, yes, it has three important layers. So mainly the photosensitive retina, okay, that is exposed to the light. Yes, the middle layer is called as the choroid. Yes, then the outer one, yes, the outer one is called as mainly sclera. So the photosensitive retina has mainly rods and cones. Choroid has mainly two modifications, iris as well as it is called as mainly the ciliary body, the muscles which control the movement of the eyeball, ciliary body. Then the sclera, yes, the sclera is having two modifications, the white of the eye as well as the cornea. In front of the lens, what we find transparent layer, cornea. So, yes, these are the structures and the chambers of the eye, these are two. Most importantly, one is called as the outer aqueous chamber we say, and other one is vitreous chamber. Aqueous chamber is having watery fluid. Yes, it is having mainly aqueous humor, and this is having vitreous humor, the gel-like fluid. Okay, vitreous humor. And yes, between the chambers, there is what we can say, there is between these chambers, yes, what is present, the lens. Lens is mainly made up of, yes, crystalline proteins. It is a crystalline protein, biological lens is made up of crystalline protein. Mainly the aqueous humor has, yes, highest level of water content. Yes, vitreous humor will be having what we can say that water, certain mucoproteins, few polysaccharide. Okay, yes. So it forms jelly-like, yes, fluid. It is a jelly-like fluid. Whereas aqueous humor, more watery-like fluid. Okay, now when we look into the basic structure of the human eye, yes, we find here the most important part is the lens. Yes, it is mainly made up of the crystalline protein, and then above the lens or in front of the lens there is a pigmented layer called iris, and then above that, yes, we find ciliary body. Okay, So here, this is what we are observing, mainly the eyeball, and here is the center point. Yes, what we call it as the fovea centralis. It is the site of visual acuity or visual accuracy also we can say. So here is the lens, and the next, yes, what we find mainly the point where no rods and cones are found, it is called as a blind spot. Only the nerves are present. So this is what we are observing mainly. The innermost, yes, this is the innermost layer, what we say retina. And then above this, yes, this is the ciliary body, what we are finding, and the middle layer continues here like this. This is the middle layer. So the middle layer is here. Yes, it is a pigmented layer, the middle layer, and it is called as a choroid. And outermost layer, yes, it forms mainly here, what we call it as, okay, this is the cornea, yes, and here we find this cornea is mainly filled with aqueous humor. Okay, and this is the outermost. Behind it becomes what we call it as the mainly sclera, the white part. Yes. So this is what we find. Mainly the outermost is the sclera. Yes. So here we are observing basically, let me mention the most important and very very transparent layer in front of the lens. What it is called as, yes, it is known as mainly cornea. Cornea is the modification of sclera. You should remember this. And then this chamber is called as aqueous humor. Aqueous humor. And this is the biological lens. And this the gap through which the light enters, it is called as a pupil. And then the muscle, yes, in front of the lens, it is called as iris muscle. Okay, and then the movement of the eyeball, because of, yes, it is a ciliary body. Ciliary body. Yes. So here behind the lens, what we find mainly vitreous chamber. Okay. So now let me mention here the innermost. It is called as retina. It is the inner one. The middle, yes, it is mainly choroid. Yes, it is the choroid, middle one. Yes, then outermost is a sclera, the outer one. And now mainly there is a site of visual acuity, and this point is called as a yellow spot. Yellow spot is also known as the fovea centralis. Fovea centralis. It is also known as, one more name is there, macula lutea. Okay, macula densa we have studied is the kidney, but here it is a macula lutea. Yes, then we find a point where no rods and cones, that is called as the blind spot. nerves. Yes, optic nerves. So the retina has the rods and cones which are photosensitive cells, and here the eyeball is very essential and important part we need to know in detail. What is that? So here we are observing mainly the eyeball has yes, what it is called as the outermost layer, the transparent layer is a modification of the sclera only. It is called as cornea. After that, there is a chamber which holds the watery fluid. It is called as mainly aqueous chamber. Fluid is aqueous, humor is there. And then, yes, the lens is there. Mainly, the focusing of the lens is again controlled by iris muscles. Okay, so the iris muscles leave a small gap here for the entry of the light, and that is called as mainly pupil. So this lens is a biological lens made up of crystalline protein. Behind the lens there is a large chamber called as a vitreous chamber, and it is filled with a liquid called as a vitreous humor. So these are the chambers and modifications of the eye, but the wall of the eye is very important. The innermost here having the cones and rods, and that is called as mainly retina. Retinal modifications, what is that? Fovea centralis, exactly from the center of the lens. It is the site of visual acuity. Okay, the sharpness of the image can happen mainly by the presence of this fovea centralis that has mainly what we can say cones. So rods are absent. Now here we find a point in the retina where no cones, no rods, that is called the blind spot, from which mainly exit of the optic nerves happens. So outermost layer is mainly sclera, the middle layer is mainly choroid, inner layer is retina. 2/3 of the eyeball behind covered by retina only. Okay? Yes. So we find that here maybe 60% of the eyeball behind covered with the retina, and then retinal modifications are rods and cones. Middle layer is mainly choroid, its modifications, ciliary body as well as the iris muscles. Outermost layer is sclera, the white part of the eye as well as the cornea is modification of sclera. So this I hope you have understood very well. So we have discussed mainly about the basics of the structure of the eyeball. Yes, in the next class we will discuss about functioning of the eye and disorders of the eye also. Yes, till then take care. Thank you very much.